Teens in trouble, getting high at home.
It was in the cabinet, I was tall enough to reach.
Others taking off, turning tricks on the streets.
Just do it. Do it and get it over with.
And some teenagers thinking taking their lives is the only solution.
I really wanted just to, take my breath and just, drown myself in my bathtub.
Tonight, teens in trouble and ways to keep your family safe. A WB56 special no parent should miss. Good evening. Issues facing everyday families, but too often parents don't discover the problem until it's too late. We begin tonight with a dangerous trend growing in popularity with local teens. It is cheap, easy to get, and perfectly legal. And the most shocking fact of all, it could already be in your own home. The headlines only begin to tell the story. 5 children dead, dozens of overdoses, an alarming trend that's now made its way to New England.
I was just doing it just because it was something to take, just something for a drug.
It's a drug 18-year-old John stumbled upon by accident, right in his own home.
It was in the cabinet, I was tall enough to reach.
I don't think kids taking these medicines have any idea how dangerous they can be.
Dr. Michael Shannon of Children's Hospital says teens getting stoned on over-the-counter cold medication like Coricidin HBP or Robitussin is widespread. More and more kids each year showing up in the ER. Kids call it robo-tripping, dexing, or skidding, getting a quick high from an active ingredient called dextromethorphan, or DXM, found in more than 100 cold medicines. The American Association of Poison Control Centers reports the number of DXM abuse cases has doubled in the last 3 years. At Blackstone Millville Regional High, a rural school on the Rhode Island border, Principal Mary Shimkus learned even her school wasn't immune to the problem.
A number of our kids were abusing Coricidin HBP.
Teenagers popping 15 to 20 tablets at one time, and no one except the kids knew about it. So it wasn't even on your radar screen?
Brand new thing. None of us had heard of it before.
And the parents had no idea either?
It was under their radar, too.
So the local pharmacist didn't even know?
Never crossed anybody's mind.
It apparently had at the local CVS, where the manager put the Coricidin behind the counter after it started mysteriously disappearing from the shelves. So we wanted to know what the major pharmacies were doing to combat the problem. CVS will put the product behind the counter only if police notify them of a problem. Brooks has no specific policy, but at Walgreens, a customer can buy at most 3 packages of Coricidin at one time. So now the question, are these companies just talking the talk, or are they enforcing the guidelines? With the help of a 16-year-old boy, we decided to put them to the test, and the results might surprise you. At this Brooks in North Smithfield, Rhode Island, our 16-year-old had no problem. So how easy was it to get it?
It was no problem.
Did she ask you any questions?
Nope.
Nothing at all?
None.
And remember that CVS in Blackstone? Well, the product was back on the shelves. But at Walgreens in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, the most shocking surprise of all. Nick goes to the counter with 6 packages of Coricidin in hand. The cash register reminds the clerk he's only allowed to sell 3, but he finds a way around it.
You're gonna have to do it separate.
All right.
As if that weren't bad enough, the clerk poses this question.
What are you, tripping to take one of these?
Then he goes on to offer some unsolicited advice.
Morning glory seed.
Oh, yeah?
You can't get like the bag kind. You need to grow them yourself and then make them into a tea. So derivative of LSD.
Yep.
Nick leaves with Coricidin in hand, and thanks to the clerk, some new ideas on how to get high. And he also told you something else.
He said I could trip off of them.
I'm very surprised how easy it was for him to go in there and purchase this.
All the while, Nick's mother watches in disbelief.
Horrifying.
Walgreens' response expressing their concern but acknowledging this incident is a clear violation of their policy, while CVS says Nick had purchased the only ones in stock, and if the Coricidin HBP were on the shelf, it was there in error. And Brooks continues to work on the ability to impose quantity limitations on items in the near future.
The key is finding ways to keep it out of the hands of our kids, and if our kids do manage to get their hands on it, to recognize and to do something about it.
Most parents looking for signs of alcohol or marijuana, but here are some telltale signs of robo-tripping. Dilated pupils, slurred speech, and problems with motor functions. Kids walking around like they're drunk. Still to come, an alarming trend.
I hated it. Every time I got into a car, I wanted to cry.
Teens turning tricks, how to make sure your daughter doesn't end up working the streets for a living.
Starting this Sunday on the WB. Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
It was just a...
You cheated on me. Aha!
All week, 2's company, and 3...
Henry Vince, ah!
...is just a tangled mess.
You were stuck together like 2 gummy worms on a hot summer day.
All week long. Get caught up.
I love your cologne.
In Tangled Web Week. Sunday at 8 on Boston's WB.
It's just so boring with you.
Define boring.
Fun. I want you to take me somewhere fun.
Fun. Fun, huh?
It's fun to shop at iParty. And right now, you'll save up to 50% on everything you need for all your summer fun and entertainment during iParty's first ever Party in Paradise sale, going on now till July 4th.
Wow, that's cheap.
Big parties, little prices every day. That's iParty.
Pontiac presents a car with a different vibe. It takes any road you throw at it, and everything you throw in it. Powers up your music or whatever you've got in mind. Runs fast between lights and long between fill-ups. Give it a destination and go where the vibe takes you. Get your hands on the hottest selling car in its class. Non-GM owners and lessees can now get into a Pontiac vibe starting under $14,200. See your participating New England Pontiac dealer.
You okay?
My dial-up service makes me sluggish.
Verizon Business DSL could pep you right up.
Oh, yeah?
You can download big files faster, access email from almost anywhere.
Sounds pricey.
It's less than you think.
Give your business the speed and value of Verizon Business DSL. Call 1-866-YES-2-DSL now for a special offer.
So, what do you think?
Verizon Business DSL is just what the doctor ordered.
Verizon.
It's known as the world's oldest profession, but as times change, prostitutes are getting younger and younger. A surging number of young Bay State girls leaving their often troubled homes in search of what they think will be a better life. That is, until reality sets in.
Just do it. Do it and get it over with.
Amber did it hundreds, if not thousands of times. Now, a year later, she's trying to get off the streets.
I hated it. Every time I got into a car, I wanted to cry.
As for the cries of 17-year-old Latasha Cannon, no one knows for sure how many people actually heard them. The 17-year-old Mattapan girl's body found dumped in the woods. 4 years later, speaking out for the very first time to the 10 o'clock news, her adopted mother remembers the phone call from state police, telling her Latasha had died at the hands of a cold-blooded killer.
I said, why? Why would they, have to do that to her? Why?
It's the same question 18-year-old Julie had been asking herself night after night for 5 long years.
So your first sexual experience was with a trick, a John?
Yes. I was 13.
Julie worked every night, sometimes as many as 20 Johns in 5 hours.
How much money were you making?
I was giving him probably about like $800 a day.
And you were getting how much back?
Nothing back.
The #1 rule out here, don't come back without the money. And if these girls fail to make their nightly quota, they're in store for a beating from their pimp. Whether it be 1 John, 5, 10, 15, even 20 Johns, these girls know they need to come back with the dough or else they'll be trouble.
Broken nose, black eyes. He stabbed me once because I told him I didn't want to go out.
Zeus, a former Boston pimp for more than a decade, says it's business and feelings don't get in the way.
It was a business and it was played by rules and regulations and repercussions.
And all the profits go to the pimp, something they never tell these young, impressionable girls when they first get them hooked into the life.
The law with this life is always that you feed into what they don't have.
And so you made them a world full of promises, and there's no way they could pass that up.
Exactly. You know, this world is made up of fantasy.
Pimps promise that lavish lifestyle, getting girls like Julie hooked on drugs, forcing them to sell their bodies for the next fix.
He was feeding me the heroin, and every day he was just, you know, feeding it to me, feeding it to me.
Denise Williams feeds these girls something much different, a way to get out. After 2 decades on the street herself, she escaped.
And I would say to myself, there must be something that I can do to help.
So she did, and in 2001 started the Bandelli Team, a Boston nonprofit that hits the streets, hoping to get the girls off them.
I like the colorful.
On weekends, you'll find the Bandelli Team giving girls what they need to stay safe. Williams just happens to be there the night when this prostitute runs out of condoms.
If you want help, I don't care what time it is, 24 hours a day you call me, I'll be there.
Without those condoms, Williams says, there's no question the girl would put meeting her quota over her own health.
How can you get a girl off the street? I mean, that's got to be difficult.
She's thinking that everybody outside of the life is the enemy. And she's been told that over and over and over again.
People tend to see prostitutes as prostitutes and not as victims. You're saying that they are indeed victims.
These are the most raped class of women in the world.
One of the biggest misconceptions, Williams says, is that these girls have a choice when working these streets. She says there's nothing farther from the truth. Once the girl gets into the life, she soon realizes she's being used. Now, a select few are lucky to get out, but most of them stay right here out in the streets. Nowhere to go except here, working.
First of all, it's a child. How does a child choose a life like that?
Williams offers these girls an escape route, a way to break the cycle. And in an ironic twist, this former prostitute now works hand in hand with this former pimp, teaching young girls how not to get trapped in the sordid world of prostitution.
What I try to tell them is that please get with some people that care about you because you're worth something.
That message too late to save Latasha Cannon, but her adopted mother hopes it may prevent others from the same fate.
What is it that you hope that young girls can learn from Tasha's death?
That's not the route to take. You don't have to go that route. Everything that glitters is not gold. And you got to listen.
And to this day, Latasha Cannon's killer remains at large. Now, if you'd like to help get young girls off the street, you can call Denise Williams at the Bandelli Team. The number you see on your screen, 617-333-9980. They rely solely on public funding. Best ways to protect your daughter, experts say, get involved in her life, know where she's going, and let her know teen prostitution is nothing more than a dead end. Up next, it's a problem that's not just affecting major league athletes.
You do anything to protect your child. I would die for him. If it could have been me, I would have gone and let him live.
How to make sure your child doesn't get seduced by steroids.
What happened to the back of your jacket?
This was my lucky suit.
Well, I think you're down to lucky pants.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Next on Boston's WB.
So step first.
Time, Newsweek, Good Morning America, USA Today, The Today Show, and Roger Ebert are cheering for the Stepford Wives. It's wickedly funny, a flat-out comedy. Thumbs up for the perfect summer fare. Rated PG-13, now playing.
You know, ever since our family got our new Ford F-150, the whole family's gotten a lot tougher.
Come in there, move it, move it, move it! Come on, Dad, put some effort into it!
See what I mean?
Made lemonade.
Thanks, honey.
Not for you, for the kids.
Ford F-150 with up to $3,500 cash back or 0% financing plus $1,000 upfit reimbursement on the #1 selling truck for 27 years. The 2004 Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
Carl, check that one.
At Legal Seafoods, we do whatever it takes to bring you the finest Alaska wild salmon. Remember, if it isn't fresh, it isn't legal.
BostonsWB.com is your home to win great prizes. Log on now and you could win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Spring Fair at Gillette Stadium. It's New England's largest carnival with old-fashioned fun and excitement for the whole family. Plus the WB's Michigan J Frogs joining the festivities. Log on to BostonsWB.com now and enter to win.
personality. He was the kind of kid that walked in the room and with a smile and just lit the room up.
At 17, Taylor Hooton was ready to take on the world. He was, by all accounts, the all-American boy. Popular, smart, and funny. But while his smile may have lit up the room, behind it lay a dark secret that would tear his family apart.
We would have done anything for him. I mean, this is your child, your flesh and blood.
1, 2, 3, 6! Taylor took to the baseball field when he was just a mere 5 years old. In high school, he wouldn't settle for anything but the best. His coach recommended he get bigger, so Taylor took that advice and turned to steroids.
He didn't think of steroids as a drug.
And that's why for several months, Taylor's need to be the best fueled his steroid use, popping the pills and shooting up in his own bedroom. His secret eventually came out. He stopped the steroids, but the downward spiral was just beginning. Taylor's mood seemed to change by the minute. Finally, a deep depression would set in. Just a month after his 17th birthday, in the privacy of his own room, Taylor took one of his belts and hanged himself.
You do anything to protect your child. I would die for him. If it could have been me, I would have gone and let him live. But that was not how it was meant to be.
Taylor's suicide may sound extreme, but with some doctors estimating that nearly 1 million high school students use steroids, it is happening and it is very real. Take the case of Beverly teen Jamie Fuller. This one more than a decade ago.
She was an innocent girl. This shouldn't have happened. I loved her very much.
But Fuller's love wasn't enough to stop him from brutally murdering his 14-year-old girlfriend, claiming steroids catapulted him into a fit of roid rage. Lawyers like Fuller's use steroids as a defense.
That putting steroids into that body, into that mind, is like pouring fuel on the fire.
And even today, 15 years later, Fuller says steroids led him to kill, and anyone who uses them, he says, could end up like him, locked up, even worse, dead. In this letter to the 10 o'clock news, Fuller says, "You will in all possibility brutally slaughter the person you love the most in a psychotic episode. You will completely destroy your family and the family of the one you've slain. Your family and friends will slowly fade out of your life, and you will be all alone forever." Dr. Harrison Pope, one of the nation's foremost authorities on steroids and their effect on